Hey everybody, welcome to our weekend check-in video for PSY-5 Social Psychology for Saturday, October 15th. As I always do, just going to go over some reminders, clarifications, anything I think you need a heads up on so you can do well in our course. So let's get started. First up, our most recent Chapter 8 on Persuasion. The quiz and discussion was due last night there, so most of you did a nice job there with your discussion, presented some interesting personal anecdotes about your experience with persuasion, so I was impressed by the candor, and also it's always kind of fun to read some of the stories that people choose to tell about how they got persuaded, or maybe not, as the case may have been, so it was pretty interesting. Next up here, the big thing, as per an earlier announcement this week, you have your Unit 3 exam coming up this coming Monday through Wednesday, the 17th through the 19th. So do prepare by using the study guide you'll find there at the bottom of Unit 3. Especially pay attention to that information you'll find italicized with asterisks all around it, because as you know by now, that's the information that your 2 short answer essay questions will be based upon. So prepare it well so you can easily type in your answers, and do be careful. Again, a reminder, as you'll find in a recent announcement and in the instructions there as well, don't just copy and paste information from your book or some psychology related website online, because I'm going to know you did that, because I can usually tell by how well it's written. And so make sure that you put things in your own words, make sure you paraphrase properly, just like you would in a face-to-face class on a paper and pencil test. Make sure you put things down in your own words, that way you won't have any problem there with cheating or plagiarism. Next up here, don't forget, as part of the exam, you need to have your inquisitive chapters 6 through 8 done before the exam opens up on Monday. So Sunday night at 11:59 p.m., October 16th, you need to have chapters 6, 7, and 8 completed, so do make sure you get them done by that time. And again, a reminder on the inquisitive assignments there, as long as the final deadline hasn't passed, you can go back in and try to raise your scores if you didn't get a quote perfect score of 100% there. So go back in and keep trying to answer them and raise your score, because the system is designed to allow you to do that. So don't just give up after you go through the first round of questioning there. Next up here, our 4th unit, which covers chapters 9, 10, and 11. That's going to open up on Tuesday of next week on the 18th there. So when it opens up there, you are welcome to work ahead. So please do knock out your discussions, your quizzes, your inquisitive assignments there. And by the way, chapters 9 through 11 are really the meat and potatoes, as far as I'm concerned, the meat and potatoes of social psychology. Interesting chapter on social influence, conformity, obedience, really cool stuff. Chapter 10 is all about relationships, including romantic ones, which is really fun stuff too. And the last chapter, 11, on prejudice, discrimination, and stereotyping, not fun stuff, but it is fascinating to learn what the science of psychology has to say about these things, including towards the end we also offer some solutions to these problems, which seem to work most of the time. So there is some hope here. So, but of course it's distressing as phenomenon in our society. We aren't the only ones that have these problems. It's everywhere you look, and it's always been around. So it's very, unfortunately, always timely topic. So do take a look at that, and do watch the lecture videos. I tell you some great stuff there in those. Next up here is that your final literature review paper. The due date for that is coming up here on October 31st, which I know is a Monday, which I know is Halloween, but that's just the way the days fall there. Don't forget, you'll find the full instructions there underneath Unit 5 of our course material on Canvas. So go down past Unit 5, and there you'll see the APA Literature Review module. You want to look at the instructions for Component 2, the final literature review paper. At the very top, you'll see a how-to video where I walk you through with narration and screenshots and show and tell you what to do, just like I did for Part 1 of this assignment. So please make sure you watch that so you'll feel more comfortable in what you have to do, because I do drill down and give you all those details. You'll find a separate file near the top, which is instructions and checklist. Make sure you take a look at that. As part of the instructions, I walk you through all the parts of the paper, the title page, the abstract page, the review itself. There's also embedded links to that online writing lab, or the OWL, or the OWL, where you can see a sample of all those things, so do check that out. Also examine that checklist as part of that embedded file right below the how-to video at the top there, because the checklist should be considered a list of do's and don'ts, things you do want to have in your paper and things you don't want to have in your paper. So take that to heart, and you'll have a much better paper overall there. And of course, if there were any issues as far as feedback for Part 1 of your paper, your topic, your thesis statement, the quality of your references being suitable, they must be academic peer-reviewed research articles, or the formatting of those references, make sure you address all that and remedy those issues, because I gave you detailed feedback from Part 1, so if you have things to correct, now's the time to do it so you don't get dinged for the same issues in this second part and final part of the paper. The key things are to make sure you say at least something about each one of your 5 APA style references there, and also don't say things that you don't have documented in your references. So this is about the literature you found, that is your 5 references, and if you want to add more than 5, that's fine too, but make sure you say something about each one of those. That's what a literature review is fundamentally about. It's not about your life story, it's not your autobiography, it's not about things you find in Time magazine. It's about what the scientific literature would say, not unlike what you would find in one of your textbooks on this kind of topic, like the one for our class. So keep that in mind there, keep it a scholarly tone. And again, don't cite sources that you don't have in your references. That's a big no-no. You'll find that in that checklist I was mentioning earlier there. That's pretty much everything I wanted to say for right now. So I will see you in those lecture videos. Make sure you're watching those. I will see you in our live session this coming Monday at 1 p.m. You already got the Zoom link for that sent out in an announcement earlier this week. So hopefully some of you can make it there, and I'll see you. Otherwise, in the meantime, have a great weekend. Study hard for your exam. If you need anything in the meantime, I will be available through email on Canvas. Just reach out, and I'll get back to you. All right, that's all for right now, and I'll see you next time. Take care until then.